Welcome in, everyone. Today we're going to be looking at several predictions for nations across the world, as well as something that's happening in the United States. Thank you for your patience, everyone. This week has been a little bit difficult. We had the snowstorm here in Virginia. We have about 3 inches of snow-packed ice on top of our 3 inches of snow. So we only got 6 inches, but I heard Maine got 20 inches. And so it's been a snowed in week. I want to appreciate everyone here who has recently subscribed to my channel and sent me good wishes and is seeing if I'm okay. I appreciate that so much. We're doing several audience questions this week, and we're going to be doing something based on Poland, Germany, and the Bahamas. And that's because several of you have asked to know what's going on with these countries because some of you are connected to them in certain ways. So we're going to be looking to see financially, economically, and politically what Spirit has. And I just ask Spirit to bring out the information that you were looking for in that regards as well. There's also a lot popping off in the United States of America. I have noticed that in the spiritual community, key leaders in the spiritual world, the tarot readers and the Reiki masters and the gurus, all those that a year ago had said, I don't get involved in politics. I don't look at the world news. I don't even look at the news. Give me my few clients. Give me my posting online, about this and that and all that you can do. And there was a time for that. But those key people online, spiritual, quote unquote, leaders who people go to as clients are now unable to hold back their ability of watching what's happening in this world. They're now getting personally connected to it. There's outrage, anger, irritation, confusion, and it doesn't even matter what side they're on. What I feel is happening is the truth will come, not to those who have their heads in the sand, not to those who say, I don't deal with that, but the truth comes to those who are watching. And it's almost as if the time has come for us spiritual people to start watching and just looking and just not being afraid of our own opinion, not being afraid of our own outrage or anger or frustration, but actually to start looking at different things that before we had said, oh, that's happening in Minnesota, but it's not happening in Virginia. So let me just ignore that. And now a bunch of people, spiritual people, are looking at things across the world and realizing how much it affects them in their future. And I feel that this is magical. Why? Because truth will always reveal itself to those who are looking. Even if you're looking for truth to happen or to be in another way, it still will reveal itself. So we're going to be taking a look at several things in the US at the end of this video concerning the ICE, the agency of ICE that deals with immigration, concerning the agencies of dealing with voter fraud. I might put fraud on another video, but we'll see. And then I also have some information about an astrological shift we went through. If you felt very weird, very strange in the last week, you're not alone. So we'll take a look at that as well. For now, let's do some predictions on, I'm hearing the word Germany. Germany's prime minister, ruler, premier, is a female. And she recently came out in stance, much like the U.S. is administration, to say we are going to close our borders. We are going to take a stand a little bit more vehemently. And we have the conflict card here. We have the card of conflict and infighting. Someone taking a little bit more of a vehement stand. So let's just take a look at Germany. Is that really true? Is the leadership in Germany shifting into a more secured nation, or are they going to be more liberal in their situations? Let's take a look at Germany. And thank you for all your requests. Feel free to put them in the comments below, and I can try to get to them when I do my videos on audience questions. We have a conflict between 2 types of leadership, or 2 leaders in Germany. We have 2 figures coming in. We have the card of corruption and infighting, okay? We have the card of justice that's happening, the Sun card, so it is a positive move for Germany, and the card of surrendering and letting go of something. So Germany's making a move away from something, and it's causing infighting in the political atmosphere of Germany. Let's take a look at what they're letting go. They're letting go of something. High Priestess, some secret deal, trade deal. The Queen of Cups, this could be a system. And then an elevation. So there is a system changeover happening in Germany, and it could very much be related to a female leader. There's something possibly that she got wind of, a secret deal, a deal of corruption, an agreement that Germany made illegally with key factors in the dark elite, let's call them that, the cabal. She recently became aware of a secret arrangement between Germany and other leaders, and she is trying to take back her country and bring a new beginning to Germany. But it's causing a lot of conflict within Germany. It is positive, but it's causing a lot of fighting. Okay, tell me about this system change or this discovery, this corruption. What is it that she discovered in Germany? The wheel of fortune. So this is definitely an intervention of some sort. The Fool card, and I'm hearing the word something traveling, and then the Ace of Cups. This could very well be an intervention concerning, I think it's immigration, because I see here coming into the country, a portal, and I immediately heard travel. And it definitely looks like this lady is traveling from one portal to another, from one world to another, and a new beginning. So is this immigration? Is this a system change? Tell me more about what this is. Agreements, pressure, and the community. She or somebody discovered a nefarious, corrupt agenda to bring in possibly people who are not for the good of Germany. And it was pressuring types of people into the communities in Germany that was supposed to subvert them or be a secret deal with a political agenda. So it was a discovery of some sort of pressure, manipulation, a tactic to try to subvert the true nature of Germany. And this is a block to that. It's a letting go of this deal. It's an ending of a certain deal. I think, let me see, who are these people being brought in? I do not feel that this is normal immigration, okay? This is Page of Cups, fake. This is the Star card and the Death card. Okay, so they were coming in possibly as sleeper cells with technology to actually bring in possible terrorism, okay? So something that could cause death or some sort of dark transition for the communities in Germany. They were fake. They were actually saying they were immigrants, but they were not. And they had access to technology or connections to technology or they had outside digital communication, which was not for the good of Germany and the communities. A lot of protection coming in for the communities. And so this shift is causing a lot of infighting, and that is why she stopped this immigration policy. She stopped it because she realized they were something akin to sleeper cells. And instead of being able to just put all her resources, she stopped a certain type of deal that was letting certain immigrants come in, but they were not true. They were not real immigrants. They were being faked. So that's what Germany is going through right now, and there's a lot of infighting. But it is positive for the good of humanity if they can deal with the corruption appropriately. Poland. I want to thank you. I think Shauna mentioned she wanted to know more about Poland. So let's choose a different deck here. What's happening in Poland? Poland has an energy of being sort of on the fringe of things politically. Poland seems to me to be the kind of country that will take the viewpoint when other people won't. Sort of the one who speaks out. Poland has always been an energy, maybe because it's on a special ley line. I'm not sure. Maybe it has pyramids. Maybe the DNA of the people are connected to the star people. But Poland has always been that kind of spark plug in Europe. Even in the World War II. Even in World War II, Poland was sort of like a hotbed, right? There was a lot of resistance. The resistance of the underground resistance, the young people resistance against the Nazis. There was a lot of resistance, Jewish resistance, and a lot of saving of the Jews that were being targeted. So there was a lot of history with Poland. So let's see what's coming in. Is Poland still a major player in being that spark plug for the EU or for the rest of Europe and Asia? Let's take a look. Three of Cups deals, moving into different kinds of deals and partnerships. They have had a lot of stress and pressure put upon them in the last year or two. They are making deals and nobody else, they're secret. Nobody else in the EU may know of it except the ones they're making deals with. These are secret offers and secret pacts that they're making. Let's see what kind of deals. Moving away, moving out, moving. How does a country move? What do they move away from? Poland. What are you moving away from? Seven of Wands, definitely it's still a spark plug energy, the energy of saying we want different, we want better, and we will fight for it. Poland, what are you moving away from? What are you secretly making deals with? You're making deals with major players and you're not letting the rest of the EU know. I do believe that they're part of the EU. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Let's see what they're moving away from. We have the King of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles, sovereignty, and the Hierophant. Ooh, Poland is trying to get some major world leader attention that has not normally been part of their system. They're looking for a little bit more independent sovereignty, and they're moving away from dark elite cabal control. This could be a banking deal, a financial bank, and I'm going to be very honest with you. I see Russia, and it feels like they would like to get connected with the Russian bank. Maybe they already are, but there's a financial deal that they're trying to move away from and into something different. King of Wands. Let's take a look. They're not telling people. Ace of Wands. Okay, this is confirming my idea that they could be in collaboration with Russia to get a better, more sovereign banking system. Let's see. Three of Pentacles, partnership, and Page of Cups. But they're not telling people what they're doing. They're being very secretive and quiet. This could even be they're trying to leave the EU and connect to something more sovereign in their financial. Tell me more about this Page of Cups, Spirit. Tell me more. Pentacles, currency. Five of Wands, because of conflict with their currency, and they were looking for new currency. They could be, are they part of BRICS? They could be looking to do some sort of deal with BRICS or Russia, and they're not telling the rest of the EU. Poland, as I suspected, you are a spark plug, and you are doing some underhanded deals to get a little bit more of a secure financial system. You're not happy with where you're at financially. You don't trust the EU. You don't want to be part of them, and you're looking for your options. Poland, I wish you the best, that you would find what's best for your people and that you'd find the harmony and the alignment of your nation. I send you all the well wishes. Again, this is a huge, they're moving into something different. This is a huge timeline shift for Poland. Poland might very well lead the way for other nations in the EU. And I apologize if I get some of the details wrong, like EU or Russia or details like that. I just come here raw and pull cards, so you take it as it resonates and correct me in the chat. Not only does it boost my algorithm when you correct me, but I also learn so much from you all. So thank you. And if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. It supports me as well, and you'll get notifications when I go live. Little tidbit, I got some news about how part of Nicera is a scam and part of Nicera is not a scam. And I have some information I want to share possibly on Sunday with you. That's a financial system. Okay, let's do the Bahamas. I want to thank you. I think it was Martha that sent me this. The Bahamas. What does Spirit want to say about the Bahamas? Financially, economically, politically, from dark to light. I'm going to switch cards again. Just get a fresh energy. The Bahamas. Okay, so I'm definitely seeing the coastline or the shoreline. So we got some clairvoyance coming in here. Elevation. This is good. This is a positive move forward. This is the rapture card, the improvement card, the upgrade card. But then we have something that was being faked. So they're upgrading from a very fake environment or something that they were not revealing to the rest of the world. They were putting on a facade. But they're going through some improvements in this area. So I think I'm seeing like their attention being piqued because of some things that have happened. I don't know if they're close to Venezuela. I don't know if they're in the vicinity. I believe that they're in the Gulf of Mexico, but I could be wrong. Please correct me in the chat. I do feel that they are connected. No, I don't know if they are actually. Anyway, let's keep going. There's an upgrade coming to the Bahamas. Tell me more. The Emperor card and the Work card. This could be leadership. They have a desire, okay? They have a desire, a past desire, and it's about a leader in a work. This is economy coming in. King of Pentacles, leadership, the leader. I'm assuming the leader is a male in this situation because it's coming in as masculine energy. Wheel of Fortune, divine intervention. Somebody did something that affected the Bahamas. This is an intervention from outside the leadership of the Bahamas. This is an intervention that we oftentimes say is a divine intervention, but it could be a simple concept of one nation did this and it's affecting the Bahamas. So it's an intervention from outside of them. Tell me more about this intervention, which is changing the way they see their economy and possibly even some improvements to their economy. Tell me more. The World card, something was ended. A past agreement, arrangement, oppression over the Bahamas has been ended. Negative energy, a big brother negative energy, and an ending of that cycle. So there was a nation that was putting a lot of pressure on the Bahamas. I hear the words keeping them poor, benefiting off of their economy, benefiting off of the tourism, which could be why there is money invested into getting tourists to the Bahamas, but not to other parts of the world, because this nation or this pressure was literally profiting from the tourism, but was somehow taxing or pressuring or controlling the actual Bahama land, the Bahamas, the people. And I have heard that, come to think about it, from one of my friends who says, the tourism side is great. It's beautiful, but they're very poor if you actually go in and visit the actual communities. Now, not the tour guides, not the guided tours. You actually get into the communities of the Bahamas. They're actually very poor. So hello, Jeff. How are you? Thank you for being here today. Yes, so something ended with the Bahamas that was intense pressure on their economy. Okay, and that confirms we have leader, and then we have another leadership and organization that was actually controlling the economy and was faking or providing a facade. So the actual Bahamas had a facade. but the real organization that was leading this and gaining the financial gains from the tourism was totally different from the Bahamas. The Bahamas were suffering while an organization benefited from the tourism. That is coming to an end. There is something that happened that has taken out that key organization that was harvesting, siphoning, controlling the Bahamas economy. Let's take a look a little bit further. Who was this country? Who was this organization or this dark elite factor that was oppressing the Bahamas? A partnership, the death card, not positive, and the chariot card. Interesting. So it was definitely something around, I'm seeing like not an island, but something across the way. It was a nation within boat distance. So you traveled there by boat. Of course, you can fly, but it was a nation in the proximity of how they got there through a boat. I see the Bahamas as an island, and then it's, you know how they say a stone's throw away, a boat ride away. So it's one of the nations that was one of the closest boat rides from the Bahamas. Let me go ahead and see map of Bahamas, because I keep seeing Venezuela here as well, but I don't think that they are connected. I think it's a type of, let me pull up a map. I should have done this before. Yeah, okay, the Bahamas, Cuba, okay. I could be seeing Cuba as the controlling country. Let's see here. We have Haiti. Cuba, the Bahamas is right off of Florida. So it could be an organization in the United States as well, because Miami is the closest boat ride to the Bahamas. And then Cuba is also a boat ride. Haiti and the Dominican Republic is further away. And I'm trying to see there, and they are within the Bermuda Triangle, okay? And then below is Honduras and Belize and Mexico. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm seeing Cuba. There's Jamaica further down as well. So the Bahamas are here. Miami is here. Okay, here's Florida. Here's the Bahamas. And then down here's Cuba, Haiti, and Jamaica. So I hope that helps with you there. I think they received oppression from Cuba, if I had to be honest, because it felt like a dictatorship. But there is a possibility that there's a corrupt organization, like a mafia style, that was also running the tourism in the Bahamas. That is being cleared up. That is being ended. That is being transformed. The type of economy is changing. Let's see how that's changing. Let's see how that's turning things around. I don't think it was Venezuela, just to correct you. I think that was a clairvoyant connection saying do some research, but it was something related to that. A strategy, Page of Pentacles, and a, I hear the words investigation, but it's just the Two of Wands, which could be something they're being observed. Okay, so it could be an investigation, but it was like something that kind of popped in on the radar to begin watching certain things, and they had to pull back some of their corruption and end some deals because they were being observed too closely. So they had to change some things around and start a new strategy, because whoever this corrupt organization is, they're now being observed by some major players in the world that are watching corruption. So there's a new strategy on play. They're trying to take their money elsewhere, to take their profits elsewhere. They know that the Bahamas are being watched. They don't feel safe to keep the corrupt organizations going. So someone or something is watching them, and this is causing a liberation to the Bahamas just by them knowing they are observed. Okay, what is this going to produce? How is life going to change for the Bahamas? Thank you very much. It's going to change quietly. There's going to be new deals made, and it's going to be so much more economically balanced. I want to go back to what I saw at the beginning of this reading. It was like I saw a leader of the country, dark-skinned leader, just suddenly poke his head up and be like, you mean there's other options for me? That's what I saw. And before, he kind of did what he was told because he had to follow this corrupt regime that was kind of in his country, siphoning the economic tourism money. And now, and meanwhile, his people are back on land suffering. He kind of has poked his head up and says, you mean there's new options? I could make a deal with other people. And this is an emotionally fulfilling relationship. Okay. This is the Two of Cups. And this is financially balanced. So he's quietly, the leader, if it's a male, is quietly looking for his options to connect to a more financially stable arrangement with other nations. He doesn't want to cut it off completely. He really wants just something that's going to benefit his people better. Okay, we bless the Bahamas. We send them all the love in the world. I hope that answered some of your questions for these countries. We did Germany, we did Poland, we did the Bahamas. In a day or two, I'll put timestamps down there so that you can go and look down there as well. I have someone that's helping me, and so it makes it easier for you to go to specific spots in the video. You go down and click those blue timestamps to the question you want. All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit because we have some time. It is 2:30. Well, this is a touchy topic, okay? And I'm going to try to stay a little bit neutral because it is popping off a lot of energy. And what's popping off is the whole concept of immigration, illegal immigration, and there's a lot of rioting happening in Minnesota. There's actually some keyboard warriors, we call them, that are going to Somalian daycares that are getting millions of dollars from the U.S. taxpayer, okay, me. So much so that U.S. taxpayers are starting to go on strike and not pay taxes because there is no accountability for our tax dollars. So there are these Facebook warriors. One of them is Nick Shirley, I believe. You can find him on Facebook. And he has a team. He just goes by and knocks on the doors and says, your daycare, it says you have 100 children here. Can I put my child in daycare? And the Somalian men come out, a bunch of them, and they're like, go away, F you. They're very rude. And go away, F you, leave you alone. And so what it's done, it's raised concern in the community of the United States, not the media. The media is spinning it one way, and maybe it's true. We're going to find out. The media says that there's children being turned out on the streets and that there's people being killed and abused. I want to ask the cards, is it true? Is it true that there's a lot of violence going on and injustice, or is it true that there's a lot of fraud? And is ICE a corrupt organization, or is ICE just doing what they're told to do? So I'm not taking a side on this. As a tarot reader, I have to take a very neutral, because the truth comes to those who observe, not those who decide that they know what's happening, okay? But I do want to say, take it as it resonates and go from there. I don't believe an opinion, anger, frustration, or any kind of emotion should be involved coming from me. It should always be observed, and then we ask the cards. All right. So, Spirit, is there injustice in the organization that we call ICE? It's like in immigration. What is ICE's acronym? What is ICE acronym mean? United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, okay? U.S. ICE stands for the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement. It was a federal law enforcement agency under the United States Department of Homeland Security. It was used by President Obama to export, I don't think that's a great word. Sorry, my mind just went blank. But to send out 3 million people. And he made statements saying, if you don't come here legally, you will be deported. Deport, not export, deport. And so this ICE immigration has been used for all of the United States for the past 50 years. Let me see. No, not 50 years. 2003, as part of Homeland Security Act of 2002, following September 11 attacks. Okay, so ICE was formed under the federal law of the United States, which everyone trusted at the time, to make a organization to deal with illegal immigration following the September 11 attacks. 2003, it was officially established. Is ICE still fulfilling its role according to what it's supposed to do? Or has it gone nefarious? Is there truly negativity with negative agendas being used? Is it still what it's meant to be, or whether is it going off the rails? Let's ask the cards. The energy, the United States, immigration, and customs enforcement. Okay, we have intense cards here. Intense cards, and I was not expecting this. Let me go ahead. Okay. For the past energy, we have the Tower card. They've had their entire foundation ripped apart. And I'm just giving to you raw. Their foundation of what they started in 2023, is not the same today as it was back then. So they have had a major upheaval to their systems, their structures. This isn't leadership. This is literally how they do things. We have corruption, and then we have it being temporarily stopped. So we have corruption on hold. Corruption or illegal activity being temporarily stopped on hold. It was actually upside down. So this is correct. He puts himself in a difficult situation in order to get a new perspective. Okay. So, and then we have the center energy of upgrades and improvements. And then the energy for current energy and what's moving forward, and I'm doing it from today, moving forward, is the energy of justice. All right, tell me more about this kind of corruption that was in ICE. There was a corruption. There was a change of system and structure that has changed. Tell me about that. Public eye, moving away from, and an intervention. Okay. They were very much used as a public eye initiative. They wanted to present something to the public. They wanted to present a certain image or a facade to the public. They had always wanted to be safe and accepted and loved by the public. That was one of the things that their policies really warranted. They did things secretly. They did things, if they had to do harsh things, they did things secretly. They tried to maintain a public image. ICE did. They've moved away from that. They're not worried about their public image. They have had an intervention from outside of themselves. Something or some other came to the ICE organization and said, we're doing things differently. We're not worried about the public image. We're not worried what people see about us. And there was a more intention of legality. We're going to do things by the book, legally. So I want to see who, and we do have a world leader coming up at the bottom of the stairs, the bottom of the stairs, the bottom of the clouds, the bottom of the, at the bottom of the deck, okay? We do have a world leader or a national leader for this. And I do feel that this is more so of the President Trump administration. They kind of lit a fire under ICE and gave it a new directive. Choice, temperance. Okay, this is a very interesting energy, okay? The energy is we're giving you a choice, and it's for health and healing purposes and balance. So this could be the self-deportation choice, or the choice to talk things out and to negotiate. And then there's some healing here. I don't know how that involves ACE, because it doesn't seem like they really deal with that topic. So they might be turning people over to a better healed, quote unquote, healing organization that's going to help them calm and take care of the people. So something about they're making a choice to bring, let's get clarity here. Yeah, Page of Wands, children, surrender, and the lack or the theft. Okay, this is what they're doing. One of the key directives that ICE received was to stop child endangerment and transferring, which is why I think they're coming across very brutally, because they are seeing the dark side of humanity and they don't give an F. So I think some of the ICE agents realize that some of the people that they capture are really hurting little ones. And so the system has sort of shifted with ICE, where they don't care if you give them the bird out their window, if you spit on them or you bang on their window. They kind of see things a little bit different than most Americans, but they can't reveal that they're actually helping to save little ones. Okay? And they're ending child trafficking rings that are done. They're realizing that they actually are interrupting through their work a lot of corruption, and it's hurting a lot of children. And so they actually see themselves as a healing organization, but they don't do the healing. Oh, I just got chills. They transfer the little ones to a healing organization, but they do not talk about this on the news because it's a major investigations and they can't share this information. But I think that's why the ICE agents sometimes don't give an F. They sort of like, get out of my way. You're not going to do this because you could very well be the child, the CT. Let's call it the child trans. Okay, let's call it the CT. The CT we're looking for. So if there's a house and there's a potential, person that does the P word on little ones, I can't go any further because I don't want to trigger YouTube. Okay? They're a little bit rough. They're like the raw masculine energy that says, heck no. And I think they're giving some of these people, even the immigrants that they might take them a little rough, but they give them to agencies who will appropriately give them either the asylum, the legal work, the paperwork, the care that they need. But people aren't seeing the organizations that these people are going to. They're only seeing the ICE agents. Does that make sense? According to the cards. How long will these protests and riots and upheaval with ICE continue? Will we continue to see this throughout 2026? It's a very somber energy, to be honest. I was not expecting that. Okay. How long will these protests and this upheaval happen? Okay, the Lover's card, which would be a year. If we're asking for timing, definitely within a year to possibly next February, okay? There will be more and more victory. The struggle will continue, but I think more and more people are going to become aware of certain things, but there will continue to be a year-long struggle between the protesters who see things one way and the ICE agents who see things another and are receiving orders from another way, okay? Political upheaval, but we have the card of it's under divine control and it's under divine intervention. There is a oversight. It is being watched by the quantum assisters of the world, by the ascended ones of the world, by the white hats. This whole upheaval is being observed and it's being looked at from a very economic, political, community perspective, and they're trying to actively bring balance to the situation. However, the political upheaval will continue. This is just the card of betrayal. There's a lot of feeling arising in the world concerning they feel betrayed. A lot of energy is being produced from this. A lot of investigations are going to be started from this. A lot of hidden deals, a lot of hidden agendas are being, again, I want to mention that they discovered tunnels underneath, was it Chicago or the capital of Minnesota? And they were just tunnels of drugs that the ICE agents found, and it was huge trafficking organization discovered, and it was corruption tied to the state. I want to ask about the governor as well. We have capture and drugs, alcohol, and again, the CT, the affecting stuff, okay? A lot of negativity connected that's going to be investigated. And then again, the little ones. And I think that's why some of these ICE agents are coming across really rough. They might not be able to talk about what they see, but they're seeing the dark side of corruption and abuse. So they're a little bit intense right now. I'm going to give it to them. They are intense, and some of them are possibly very mean to the protesters. However, there's a lot of investigations that have been sparked that cannot be spoken about, but maybe will start to be observed in the public eye. And it's when these investigations get revealed, it's going to change. When the announcements of these investigations get revealed, people are going to start realizing there's a lot more to the story than we thought, and some of them might be calmed down. But I do see this continuing for the rest of 2026. But the announcement of the investigations, the fraud, not just the fraud, the little criminal organizations discovered and revealed will possibly shock the United States of America, if not the world. Let's see, is this a systematic? It's funny because when you pull the truth on a situation, when you're not, like I am totally saying unbiased from both points of view, because both points of view, they both believe they're right, okay? But when you pull the truth about a situation, it can calm the situation down. So let's ask here, is there a actual nefarious plan, or is it a organic grassroots protest happening? Okay, expansion, foreign. Okay, there is foreign interference in the protesters. It started out balanced, okay? The protesters were really grassroots and really organic, and it started out very grassroots, organic, people genuinely concerned, okay? That was the past. We have then some foreign interference coming in and some partners that kind of saw that this was a opportunity to take some things, but let's see. They're lying to the people. They are not truly who they say they are. Some of these people that came in and began organizing some of these protests are lying to the protesters. Okay? We have some sort of system that was brought in, a foreign system. I'm seeing possibly a gaming system, a console system, foreign interference that was bringing in a communication system of some sort, and they're pretending to be organic grassroots protesters, but they're lying to the people. So the protesters are actually being hijacked. They're bringing in a lot of heavy energy, and this heavy energy is getting the protesters in trouble. It's teaching them to do tactics that could get them arrested instead of a peaceful protest. But the non-peacefulness is coming from the foreign. They're having to travel there. So whether it's foreign like international, or whether it's foreign like this fringe group from California, or this fringe group from Florida, or this fringe group from Washington came, they're not local anymore. The people that are really organizing it and providing a system to it are not local, and it's not grassroots. And it's actually causing more harm to the protesters instead of good, because the honest protesters who really just want to see people treated right, they're being hijacked, and it's not fair to them. And they do not know who is really behind their organizations anymore. And I don't mean organizations as like has a CEO. I mean like the organization process of we're going to go here. They don't know who is behind it anymore. Okay. I have one more question. Yeah, and it's being funded as well. The money's coming from a lot of different locations, and they do not know where the money's truly coming from. This could get them in, if an organic, honest protester that really wants to do what's good, he needs to keep his nose clean, because the money coming in could not be legal. All right, and you don't want to handle any money if you're protesting. You don't want to handle any, you don't want to communicate with too many people, because you don't want to be tied to a corrupt organization or a mafia organization, because that can get you in trouble. So that's just a little hint there if you feel called to be a protester. I am not taking the side of a protester. I personally would not protest. I personally say let ICE do its job. And that's my personal opinion. But I have to give the message in case there is somebody on here that really feels strongly this way and feels like they should be out, asking for support to these people. If you would like to bring in, I feel like you should be working with a government agency and not with this computer gaming console. Let's send messages to each other, because you don't know who's on the other side of that gaming console. It could be the mafia for all you know. So that's there. Okay, so whichever way you take, I hope that this gave some clarity to you as well. Thank you for joining me today. I do want to do one more if you all have time. The amount of energy I have been feeling, now maybe it's just me, but the amount of heaviness, the amount of transition, the amount of memories and thoughts and confusing thought forms, and some things that I've never dealt with for my entire life. There has been some things popping off in the last 2 weeks that I personally want to pull cards on. If you guys want to stay with me, let's do it. I have heard that Neptune, the planet Neptune, is moving into Aries. It has not moved into Aries since 1860. Neptune in Aries in 1860 sparked the Civil War. Okay. They also say, however, that Neptune is moving out of Aries and is moving into Aries and has been in the sign of Pisces, which Pisces is the energy of illusion and delusion and spirituality. So it kind of like shocks everything. It's a 15-year cycle or more, I think. Anyway, could be longer cycle than that. Anyway, there's a cycle going on with Neptune where it's very, very intense in the spiritual world. Now, Neptune is moving into the sign of Aries, which is the energy of masculine energy, war, conflict, personal sovereignty, personal leadership, independence. So I don't know if some of the system shifts is happening because our entire world is changing. We're literally going to be under the new energies of a planetary system. Saturn is getting ready to leave its sign of Aries and go a sign of Pisces and go into Aries. Pluto has gone into Aquarius. So there's just a lot of brand new energy on the scene. And I want to ask, what's really happening? Is this a timeline shift? Is this an astrology shift? Or is this literally the energies of a world in turmoil that some of us are feeling? Let's take a look to see if we can get a lead on, will we be okay through this shift? I've heard people talk about they're dealing with some suicidal thoughts. I've had people talk about they're dealing with thinking they are chronically ill now in the last 2 weeks, that think there's something really wrong with their body and there never was. There are people having tingling and buzzing and they cannot sleep. Let's just ask Spirit what's going on astrologically or energetically. All right, intense pressure. Pressure. The card of energy coming out of the sky. Wheel of Fortune. This is a zodiac wheel. This is the wheel of astrology. Okay, pressure from the stars and the planets. Past programming. Past the way we've done things in the past. Something about the past is changing. Queen of Pentacles, Earth. This is DNA. This isn't Earth. This is DNA. DNA. Tell me more. Death and transition. Whoa. What is dying, Spirit? Something in our DNA is collapsing and dying. This could even be, oh my goodness, I'm seeing even maybe not DNA, but an attack on our DNA. This could very well be parasites as well. A killing of something that's affecting our body. A death to, it's hidden, it's secret, we can't see it. It is leaving our bodies and our energy systems, and it is being cleansed and healed. Is this parasites? Let's just ask. Are we having a massive worldwide, we have the King of Swords, which means it's not so much parasites, it's mental parasites. They're thought forms. thought forms. That's why people say, I've never been suicidal all my life, and now I have this idea in my mind and it's not me. Or I literally have these memories from my past coming up, and they come up and I'm crying and I can't release them. Or I do release them, but they come back and I got to release them again. The thought forms of, am I chronically ill? Is this wrong with me? What's wrong with me? The ringing in the ears. There's tremendous programming being cleansed from our physical body. And yes, I do think parasites were feeding off of it, but it's not just parasites. It's possibly what I call a thought form. And a thought form is basically a block of information, which swords represent information and words and thoughts. So that it's like a block of information that we existed on that gave us our patterns of doing things. So a consistent thought form would be every single time you make money, you spend it all because you're too scared to have lots of money. And so you just spend it all. And you're like, why can I not keep money? It's because there's a thought form inside of you that says it's not safe to hold lots of money. So that kind of thought form is leaving. The thought form leaving is, I really have to work 6 days a week. Otherwise, I'm not safe. And the thought form of, I always need to work. I cannot just sit down and rest. That's a thought form. If you have to always be going, and you don't feel safe. Another thought form is a thought form of, I can't be silent. I can't just sit with myself. I can't just enjoy peace and quiet. I have to turn on the news. I have to turn on some music. I have to be listening. I have to be calling someone and talking. It's the energy of, I'm not safe if I don't do this. So it's a programmed mindset that we don't realize we have. And it is a mental parasite. But it's literally being cleansed from our brains in our energy fields. And we're being forced to relook at our lives and say, this is no longer working for me. Wow. Something that we can't see. It is part of a detox that we're going through. And it is something leaving I think it's leaving through our urinary tract system, water, blood, mucus, anything with liquid. If you feel like you're using the restroom a lot, you might be going through this energetic detox, and it's affecting the liquids of your body. Blood, being very thirsty, and other conditions as well. Tell me more, Spirit. One more and then we'll go. High Priestess, it's very mysterious. It is very emotional, and it passes quickly. It's like you'll get an emotion and then it passes quickly, but it's a thought, and they're very intense, quick, emotional. It's almost like the emotions connected to the thought are being severed. They're being separated. The emotions connected to the thought, it's like it's being separated and then cleansed. So if you have an emotion that says, I can't sit still for longer than an hour, how dare I rest? I need to be doing dishes. I need to be working. I need to be checking my emails. If you have that thought form, it's like the emotion will start separating from the thought, and they're going to die. They're going to start crumbling because they're no longer connected and they're no longer your support system. So it is going to be okay. They are being severed, and it is deep internal energetic reset. So you are not going crazy, and you are possibly, go to a doctor, possibly not as chronically ill as you think you are. I do know I have thought maybe I was dealing with some sort of chronic illness. That's how intense it was. Drink lots of water. Keep using the restroom if you're going to the restroom. Take care of yourself and allow things to pass. And if you need help, please reach out to the resources, therapists. You can call the hotlines. You can call whatever help you need. Reach out to a friend and just ask for prayer. Say, hey, I could use your prayers right now. That will be a great help. I also want to say one of the best things for me is a black hematite reflective stone. When I started dealing with certain thought forms, I'm like, this is not me, I would put this underneath my bed and I could sleep much better. I would take it in my hands and immediately ground. So use your crystals to get grounded. Marsha K. Thanks so much for reading on the Bahamas. Our government is so corrupt, hoping for a change. Bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I found the Bahamas very interesting. What a great read. Thank you for joining me today, everyone. I will be live again on Sunday, and I believe we're going to do the myths and the truths about Nasera and Jasera, because there's a lot of confusion, and I have some documentation to show you, and we'll pull some cards. Are we really going to get a massive financial reset called Nasera or Jasera, or is that all a hoax? And I will present the information, pull cards, and let you make a decision. If you're interested in a personal reading, I do offer a 30-minute reading for $79, and then a one-question reading. If you just want to send me a question, you can visit my website. It's currently under construction. I'm getting some help, so I'm so excited. But go ahead to violetflame.net, click Learn More in the private reading, and you can always send me an email as well. We pay some of the highest taxes in the world. And I think a lot of people, and you're talking about the US, I think a lot of people are starting to realize maybe the taxes aren't going to everywhere they say they're going. Whew. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thank you for being here. Please like, subscribe. It supports me. It gives me a little hug, and I will see you hopefully Sunday.